Today I want to talk about a Ruby kernel method called caller. And what we have here is the RubyDoc page for the method. And what caller does, as it says here, is it returns the current execution stack, which is in this case an array containing strings in the form of the file and the line, or the file and the line and the method. I use it when I'm debugging to see what code has called my code. So I want to see, sort of the chain of events that led to a line of code getting executed. Now, the documentation does provide some good examples of how the different optional parameters work, but I don't think it provides an excellent sort of use cases how you'd be using this whenever you're sort of day to day developing. So I've put together a sort of contrived example that we can talk through to show how this works. So let's imagine we work on a project. It's quite a big project, but there's two classes. One is a cat class, which has a method called about, which just puts out some information about the cat, its name and its age. Now, the developer that wrote this was being quite lazy, so we can see they've hard-coded stuff. So the cat's name is always Pixel, and the cat's age calls this other class date of birth, but with a hard-coded date of birth being passed in. Now, the date of birth class has a method called findAge, and that findAge takes the passed-in date, subtracts it from now, divides it by 365, and turns it into an integer to return their age. Now, this isn't a great way to find someone's age, but this is just an example showing some code that we need to debug. Now, and this code gets called just by calling puts cat.new.about. So if I run that, we see the cat's name is Pixel, their age is 4. Now imagine we get a ticket raised to say, look, no matter what cat we're calling, they always have the same date of birth. And the developers that raised it have said, look, it's calling this findAge method, and it must be something to do with findAge. So comes across our desk. Now let's imagine this, as I say, this is like a big sort of project. So I might know anything about the cat class initially. I just know about the date of birth class and the stuff in there. So using the caller method, what I can do is just do puts caller on findAge. And now whenever I run that code, we get something a bit different. So we get the name is Pixel, and then we get this output, and then the age is 4. And I'll talk about this output. So this is the call stack. This is everything that's happened. So first of all, if we go from bottom to top is normally the most sensible way to read these. We can see that on line 27 of our code, which is where we're calling this here, is where we first the code starts running. So that's in the main, which is just like the sort of the main thread of the Ruby code. And then the next thing is in the about method on line 6 in this same file. We can see some codes executed. So if we go to line 6, we can see right enough we're in the about method, and here's the age method. And then on line 16, where the age method is, this is where we're calling it. So that's great. That shows us. Then we can look at this, and I'm in VS Code here, so I can actually command click on a line to go straight to the file and the line to see where we're at. So in this case, I could very quickly go, oh, flip, here we go. This is the issue. It's hard coded. So I can then make appropriate changes to maybe pass in the date here, pass that through. And stuff like that. And then, obviously I would need to have some way of changing the date against a cat or add it in or whatever we want to do. But that's that's how caller works. Now, I often don't use it specifically like this. I'll use it one of two other ways. So one way I like to use it is passing in an index here of 0. And if I call that, what it shows me is just the very the first line in this call stack, right? So it's just going right line 16 on this file, which in our specific use case here, that's exactly the line we care about. So caller with an index of 0 gets us that. So you might say, why do we not just use caller all the time? Now, in this exact project, because there's only 3 lines, that would be 100%. We could do that. But in a Ruby on Rails application, say, where there's lots of middleware and just like different abstractions and lots of different classes and stuff, it can get very, very messy. So what we can do is and say it doesn't provide enough information just to do the last thing that was called by doing the one. What you can do is optionally pass in the line you want to start with and the amount of lines to show. So we can run this. If we do this, we can now see that it's given us a bit more information. So it's saying, okay, actually, the first thing was this line that we have literally called. And then age comes so we've got the find age method. It was called by the age method here. We could change this to say use 3. And we would see that it was, so find age was called within age. And then it was called from about. So here. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. As I say, it's a very, very useful method. And just to recap, I would either use caller by itself for a small thing, caller with an index of 0 if you just want the last thing, or, as I say, optionally pass in how many lines you want. Now, I would generally maybe start with 5 or 10 and sort of see how that feels for the project and adjust as necessary. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, do comment below and I will do my best to answer them. Cheers!